Hey everyone, Game Park here, and today what I thought I'd do was a pickups video from my recent trip to Hawaii. So yes, I recently went to Honolulu, Hawaii, and I was very surprised that there is actually a Book Off. So yes, if you don't know about Book Off, it is a store that is primarily based in Japan. So it's kind of like essentially like a Goodwill, but a little bit more curated and more organized. But yeah, they actually happen to have a Book Off in Honolulu, Hawaii. I believe they actually have two, but I was only able to go to one. And they had, aside from books and media and cards, things like that, they also have a lot of figures and, most importantly, games. So while I was there, I had the opportunity to stop by, and there was a lot to see, and there were some pretty good deals. And they did carry both some Japanese as well as North American, because it is still based in Hawaii, which is a U.S. state. So yeah, but while I was there, I mostly ended up picking up games that were more on the cheaper side, and that just so happened to be that they were all Japanese pickups. But I was totally fine with that because I can see a lot of, North American games where I live, so it's not a big deal. Plus, with recent tariff situations and certain products from other countries being taxed, I figured, hey, let me just pick up some cheaper games while I'm here that are Japanese, that, are games that I've been looking forward to for a while, and that's exactly what I did. So without further ado, let's get into the pickups. So while I was there, I managed to see a couple of Game Boy Advance games that I saw were pretty interesting. So this is The Legend of Starfy. Got this for $3. Everything was very, very well priced for the most part. Of course, there's some more expensive games, but I was able to get some really good deals on some of these games. So yeah, Legend of Starfy here, Densetsu no Starfy 2. And we also have Mr. Driller 2 for the Game Boy Advance, also $3. You can see the multiple stickers that it had been discounted over time, and they just kind of sat there. But after $3, I think it's just gonna stay. That's probably like the cheapest that it'll get. So I managed to get these two Game Boy Advance games here for $3 each, so I was very happy with that. Then as I looked throughout the store and was browsing the store, I managed to find basically like the junk section. So if you know about Book Offs, then you know that a lot of those Japanese specialty stores have junk sections where it means that they're just not tested. They might work, they might not, but it's kind of like at your own risk. And I managed to find some Super Nintendo games there. And the first one that I saw for a pretty good deal here was Mickey and Minnie's Magical Adventure 2 for the Super Famicom, or the Super Nintendo as it's known here in the US. So yeah, I was able to get this for $3. It's in the junk section, so of course it has like some writing. A lot of these games come directly from Japan, since Hawaii is so close, relatively close to Japan, compared to the 48 states on the mainland. But yeah, I was able to get this one for $5. The label's in good condition, and if I wanted to, clean it up and get rid of any sort of markings, then I would totally be able to do so. So yeah, I was able to get this one as well. Then right after that, I also got Donkey Kong 2, Super Donkey Kong 2, or Donkey Kong Country 2. So that was also $3. Really nice condition on the label for the most part. On the back, it's got some other stickers. Don't remember if this one had anything on the back, but no. Yeah, it's got this little, what does it say? Yuki. So it's almost a sticker that says Yuki on it, and a 1, but I can clean that off. And yeah, $3 for Super Donkey Kong 2. I have the North American version of this, but it is sealed, and I just never feel the need to want to open it because it's just been, it's the original. I believe it's a player's choice, if I'm not mistaken, but nonetheless, it's still sealed, and I just can't bring myself to opening it. So for $3, I can essentially play the game here on a loose card in good condition for Super Famicom. So happy to have that. Then the next one I saw after that was Mystical Ninja, starring Goemon, or Ganbare Goemon as it's known in Japan. So this is a game that I've been wanting for a long time. I would love to have the North American version one day, although I'm not a fan of that cover art. I do think Goemon looks pretty ugly in the North American version compared to the Japanese version, where he looks like kind of cute and pretty cool. So I do like this version a lot better. But nonetheless, I would like to own the North American version one day. But for the meantime, $3 for the Japanese version, not bad at all. So I'm very happy that I was able to see that, see this cartridge in that junk bin, and I picked it up for sure. So that's something about cassette. The cassette here, it comes from a family computer recycle shop, so probably a store in Japan that was also selling these games like kind of like Goodwill, but I'm picking it up. And amongst the other cartridges that were in the bin, I also found the Ranma 1/2 RPG. So I used to play this a lot back in the day on emulators, but I was so surprised to see a Ranma RPG there. There's some other RPGs that are way more common, like Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI. There's a couple of like Secret of Manas in there, but I either already have those or I don't mind, not having those. But the Ranma like this, for example, never came out in the US, and I played this a lot when I was younger on emulators. Love the music, love the graphics on it. So for $3, even though I might struggle to get through it, I'm still very happy to have Ranma, which is one of my favorite anime series. So yeah, for $3, couldn't pass it up. Really glad I saw this, and that's what I got there. Then moving on to other systems, I also managed to come across a copy of 1080 Snowboarding for the N64. $3 as well, just like the rest of the other games that I got, except for Magical Adventure 2, which was $5, the most expensive out of all the cartridges that I got on that day. And yeah, we have 1080 Snowboarding. I know the North American version isn't hard to find, but I just saw it there for $3. I don't have any physical version of this game myself, so I figured, yeah, let me just pick that up because it's just fun and easy to get into. Really like the graphics, the style, just the gameplay of 1080 Snowboarding for the N64. So couldn't pass it up. Of course, there's other N64 games that were in that bin, like those pro powerful Yaku baseball games, but I'm not really interested in like those types of sports games. I like these kind of like arcadey, funner games. So yeah, went and got 1080 Snowboarding for the N64. And then something that I usually don't do is I actually did pick up some games for the Famicom or the original NES. And yeah, I managed to get here a Dragon Ball Z game. I believe this is a Dragon Ball Z RPG. Also for $3, previously discounted from $9. So I don't know if I would have picked it up. Actually, I most likely would not have picked it up for $9. But for $3, a Dragon Ball Z game on the NES with the top label, I was pretty happy to see that. And the bag, nothing ripped. Somebody wrote their name on it, but that's all right. $3, not bad. And yeah, I don't know why, but even though NES was the first system that I actually owned and played a ton of games on, I just don't have as much nostalgia for it as I do with the Sega Genesis and the N64 and other further like later systems. But yeah, when I saw Dragon Ball Z for the Famicom here, I'm like, you know what? I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and couldn't pass it up for $3. So went ahead and got that, and I'm really happy. And not only did I get one Famicom game, but I also got two, and this is Twin B for the Famicom. I love Twin B. Have a couple on Super Nintendo, I believe some on PlayStation. So I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Twin B did start off on the Famicom. So as far as I know, it might have maybe started on the MSX or something like that. But yeah, nonetheless, we have Twin B here for the Famicom, and I was like, yeah, this is simple, easy to get into. $3 for the cartridge. It's in decent condition. So I was like, why not? Like, even though it's something I'm not actively collecting for when it comes to like the NES or the Famicom, I managed to get these two games at the BOOKOFF in Hawaii. So I was like, yes, absolutely gonna get it. So those were actually all the games that I got on that first day. because there were actually a couple of other games that I saw later on. And, you know, a day passed by. I was there for a couple of days. Some time passed by. And after a day, I was like, you know what? I remember seeing some pretty cool things aside from what I picked up here. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? I really should just go back and get them, because I just don't think I'm going to see them for that kind of deal, you know, anytime soon. Even if I come back here home to Chicago, I don't think I'm gonna like run into these kinds of games for that cheap, for just $3. I just don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm like, hey, let me go back and just check it out, and if I'm nearby that area, I'll stop by and get it. And that's exactly what happened. So I managed to go back, couldn't help myself, and I got a couple more games, starting with Super Street Fighter 2 for the Super Famicom, $3 as well. This one's in a little bit worse condition. It has somebody's name on it here. It's a bit yellowed, but you know, I'll go ahead and just try my best to clean that up. But Super Street Fighter 2, absolute classic on the Super Nintendo, $3. I figured, you know what, why not? I'm looking for games that I can just pick up and play that shouldn't be super difficult, or they're based off some series or some IP that I really like, such as Ranma, you know, so stuff like that. That's what I was looking for. And then I also found a Super Fire Pro Wrestling Special for the Super Famicom, also $3. So a wrestling game. I've heard a couple good things about these Super Fire Pro Wrestling games. I don't believe I've ever played one of them before. So I was like, yeah, $3. Looks like it's in really good condition too. So I figured $3, why not? Let's get that. So I did. Then we have Super Fire Pro Wrestling Special for the Super Famicom. And the other game that I got here was Crayon Shin-Chan 2 for the Super Famicom, also $3. I have the first one, which I believe I got in some type of lot. But when I said, hey, wait a minute, this is Crayon Shin-Chan 2, I only have the first one. And I believe this is like a bit of a platformer or something like that. But nonetheless, I figured, yeah, why not? Let me go ahead and get this one as well. So I ended up getting those three games, right, that you see right here. So Super Street Fighter, Super Fire Pro Wrestling, and Crayon Shin-Chan 2 on the second day. But that was not the only thing that I got. I got one other thing, and that is a Sega Mega Drive, or Sega Genesis as it's called here in the US. So yes, I saw this up on top of one of the shelves in the display case, and it was above the display case actually, so I was able to just reach up and bring it down and check it out. It looks a bit scuffed, you know, for sure, a little, you know, seen better days for sure, but you know, for the most part it looked all intact. It didn't seem like anything was broken. And when I checked out the price, which is what I actually ended up seeing here, it came at $12. So for $12, it is missing the door and the bay here for the Sega CD connection, but you know what, $12. I was like, I've never had an actual Mega Drive, Japanese Mega Drive. I have a European one, but not a Japanese one. And for $12, this is like definitely one of my favorite systems of all time. So I figured, hey, let me go ahead and get it, and let me see if I can, you know, restore it, bring it back to life, make it look a little better, and hopefully that's something that I'll be able to do sometime soon. But yeah, I'm sure I can do something to the cosmetic. If it turns out it's just too brittle or something like that, then maybe I can just buy a replacement case for it. But the goal is to try and restore this as best as I can. And yeah, just for $12, I couldn't pass it up. It's in, you know, not absolute like greatest condition, but it's not in the absolute worst condition either, where it's like completely broken or something like that. So I'm really happy to have gotten this on the second day. $12 for a console, honestly, you can't go wrong, especially for one that I didn't have before. And yeah, so that's what I ended up getting on my second day. So combined between all the things that I got on the second day and all the things that I got on the first day, I actually ended up spending about $60 in total. I believe maybe 61, something like that with taxes, which the tax rate over there is a lot better. It's 4.25, I believe. So that made everything a lot sweeter in terms of, how much I was spending. It wasn't like, way more than what I usually end up spending here, to be honest. So I was really happy that I was able to get all of those. And yeah, and I walked away with some really neat things here that I'm super happy with. Oh, and actually, aside from the games, I also got a couple of other things as well aside from games, but they are gaming related, and they are Tokimeki Memorial figures here, which I also got for, oh, this one was $5, but the other ones that I got were $3. So here we have some characters from Tokimeki. They look not like the greatest, but I did check out, as you can see here, it says Konami right there. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I rarely ever see Tokimeki action figures. Here's another character from the series. So I figured, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get it. I don't get a lot of figurines, but for Tokimeki, another one of my favorite series, I absolutely had to get that. So I got another one right here too. And these were actually some of the cheapest of the larger figurines that I saw there at BOOKOFF, because a lot of them were going for like $20, $15. So I feel that I actually ended up getting these for a really good price. I even saw some multiples of these other figures here, and they were going for like $10. So I don't know if there was like a pricing issue or something, but that's kind of the way it is at BOOKOFF too in Japan as well. They'll just kind of price the same games, different prices, and they won't update the one that might have been missed. So that's kind of why you do look around and try and find the best deal. But I was super happy to get these figures. And yeah, I ended up getting all the games that you see right here, and also my trusty Mega Drive over here on the side. So those were actually all my pickups from BOOKOFF in Honolulu, Hawaii. Had an absolute blast there. Aside from the games, it's just a beautiful place to visit, to live, to just explore, to just relax. That was the main reason that I went there, and I couldn't be happier, to be honest. I'll always have great memories of my time in Hawaii, and I can't wait until the next time I'm able to go back. But yeah, pretty much everything you see here is what I got, and those were all my gaming pickups in Hawaii for my most recent trip. So if you watched this video, thank you so much for watching. Give a like if you enjoy this kind of content. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've played any of these games before. Have you been to that BOOKOFF in Hawaii before, or the other one that's a little further that I didn't get a chance to? Are there any other gaming stores that you would recommend that I might have missed? So yeah, let me know down below, and thanks for watching. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.